Host of today's webinar on future workforce, teaching students the skills to succeed. We host weekly webinars on the latest B2B SaaS solutions to help small and medium sized businesses stay on top of the emerging software tech. Today's speaker lineup includes a handful of very talented individuals. We have Danny Rubin joining us. He's the founder of Rubin Education. And
Thank
then
you.
we have Jen Seeley. She's the VP of Customer Growth over at Higher Logic, joining us. And then rounding out the lineup, I will be presenting details on a solution from one of our partners, Marketer Hire. So be sure to visit our website, softwareoasis.com. If you're just joining us from a different channel and you haven't registered for the webinars, you can just click on the webinar register tab up at the top and add yourself onto the webinar reminders list. Next week's webinar begins at 1 p.m. and we will get started in just a moment. During this webinar, each of the sponsors has graciously made a special offer available to everyone who is attending. So we'll send those in the chat, and be sure to click on the link and take advantage of those offers. For those watching a webinar replay, if you look at the top of the screen, you'll see a call to action button that you can click on to take advantage of those same offers that people attending the live session are taking advantage of. And to get things started, we have people joining us from all around the world today. So if everybody, including our guests, can type into the chat where you're joining us from, that's always a fun way to get started. I am actually joining from Westboro, Massachusetts, which is just outside of Boston. If you drop the pin right in between Worcester and Boston, that's where we're at. But I see we have a lot of people joining us from different parts of the world and different parts of the country. So that's great to see. And the first speaker during our webinar will be Danny Rubin. So I'll ask everyone to please put aside any distractions for this next hour to get the most out of the webinar. You're in for a real treat, and you'll hear from our panel of top experts. So with that, Danny, I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for the opportunity to be on the webinar today. And it's nice to meet everybody who's watching, or if you're watching later on recording. Nice to meet you too. As he said, I'm Danny Rubin. I'm the founder of Rubin, Rubin, and we are a provider of online resources for business communication skills, which encompasses a lot of soft skills. And so we are in the trenches at the middle school and high school levels, providing resources to school divisions around the country to help students become more proficient with soft skills. But we do that through practical measures. We don't just talk about the importance of having work ethic or being polite or being on time. Those high-minded ideas only get you so far and only teach but so much. We combine that mindset, those principles, with practical classroom exercises and tools so students can understand what it is to act out effective soft skills and create lessons and activities for the classroom that take up time, allow teachers to teach. And so what I'll share with you today, I'll briefly run through what we do and hopefully give you some ideas, whether you're watching this as an educator or as an employer, some ways to strengthen the soft skills for young people in ways that they would find relevant and worth doing. Because when you connect soft skills to real world application, getting a job, securing a customer, making more money, being influential, that's when it becomes interesting to young people. Oh, if I know how to do, how to compose a solid email, that'll help me get a job. or get a raise. So we work hard at developing material to make it real and make soft skills more accessible for students as young as fifth and sixth grade up through high school and college. So, with that preamble, I will do a quick screen share. Let me share my whole screen. Michael, can you see this?
Yes,
The
yep, that's
screen.
coming up
So
just
again,
fine.
not to make a huge sales pitch, but just so the audience knows who we are. This is our company. We have 3 products. On the left side, Aspire, we have a library of career exploration videos covering over 70 jobs in different pathways: healthcare, marketing, STEM, the trades, law enforcement, all kinds of jobs. And we talk to people about their jobs and why soft skills are essential in their jobs. And school divisions use this material for students as young as elementary school up through high school to show students, especially in rural communities where they may not have access to these different jobs, what the jobs are and the soft skills that are required. On the right side, we have a communication skills curriculum called Emerge. And this is where we have a series of activities for email writing, phone skills, networking, project management, public speaking, report writing, all kinds of things for students to practice soft skills through real world application. And we work with school divisions that are small and large, including Fairfax County, Virginia, which is one of the largest in the country, Las Vegas, Miami, Dade, Florida, Philadelphia, and then small school divisions in Mississippi, Iowa, Georgia. It runs the gamut for us. Every student deserves to know how to communicate properly to open a door for themselves. So we do not discriminate, big or small city in the country. And the tool in the middle is our newest tool. And I do want to show this and offer free access to anybody interested. We hear the complaints. We've heard it for years from educators that students, and maybe Jen can attest from her side on the hiring side, is students or young people write emails like they're texting. There's no distinction between a text message and an email, and it all blurs together and it's too casual. And young people don't understand you have to be more formal when you're looking for employment opportunities or succeeding in the workplace. And so we built a tool, a first of its kind tool that teaches young people in particular how to write professional grade emails. It's not a grammar checker, it's different. And I'll show you what that is in a moment. And just as a bit of background for people listening, like where's all this stuff come from? I'm not an educator by trade. I have not been in the classroom, but I worked in journalism. I was a TV news reporter for a CBS news outlet, and I also worked in public relations and helping customers with their messaging, their branding, all kinds of writing and speaking. And so what I've done is taken the lessons from the real world on what it means to be a good communicator, writing, speaking, talking to new people, asking questions, being curious, telling stories, and then bringing all those skills to bear for the classroom, packaging them up so that educators can take it and teach it to their students. So scaling the knowledge, not just keeping it to myself as a consultant, but giving it to educators who turn and share with students. And in doing so, we've been able to take these principles of soft skill best practices and then scale them around the country to tens of thousands of students, which I think is pretty great. This idea in my head actually is working, and we are able to get teachers the tools to teach the things that we feel as a company really matter. And then the teachers become advocates and evangelists for what we're sharing, and then the students learn it. And so this has been the whole model, the whole idea, and this is where you find us today. I founded the company in 2017, and here we are in 2024, still sort of early stage, but making gains every day. So as I said, we have curriculum resources and I'll just show very quickly what it is. And I'll just demonstrate this email etiquette tool because that's our newest thing. And it's, I think, the coolest thing we've got going right now. I'll start with this. As I mentioned, we have career exploration content. So if you're out there looking for more career exploration resources, look no further. Aspire is a huge library of all these different pathways you can read down the side. And we have talked to people in all these spaces, and we have condensed the longer interview and given you sort of the best of the smartest things these people say in 1 to 2 minute clips, like an athletic trainer or a dentist, a healthcare minute. This is all the medical people we've spoken to, a lab technician. And so we take the best stuff and we put them in these little short videos that start and end at defined times so that you can very quickly play a video in class, like to start the class, learn about a job, have a discussion about it with discussion questions, and then and talk about it and move on with your day. And I'll just point out, I don't think you can hear this, maybe you can, but the point I wanted to show you is that we are big on accessibility. We work in school divisions, so we have sign language and closed captioning for all of our videos. And in all these interviews, I have a sign language interpreter the entire time. And that's important that schools know that we accommodate in that way. So Aspire is career exploration across many different pathways and jobs. And let me just back up and show you and then Emerge, as I mentioned, is the other side of the coin, which is after you learn about jobs, how do you practice the skills to get the job or to be successful in the job? And this is where I talk about connecting soft skills as like a big idea in the sky to practical application when you have to do something to land that job or be successful. So one set of our assignments is email etiquette lessons, life skill lessons like how to shake somebody's hand, or phone skills like how to leave someone a voicemail, or learning about your pay stub. What does your pay stub mean? Holding discussions in class about ethical dilemmas. And just as an example, phone etiquette. Something that students don't think about until it's right in front of their face is something as simple as how to leave a voicemail. Students don't like using the phone. The phone, unless they're texting, we don't speak into it anymore. It's not cool. You'd rather text somebody, but maybe Jen can speak to this when it's her turn, that you can't just text your way to a job. Sometimes you have to call an office, confirm they have your application, double check on an interview time. There are reasons to use the phone when you are an adult. And so one activity we provide to schools is how to leave a voicemail. It sounds simple to the three of us and maybe you watching. Oh, it's a voicemail. What's the big deal? Well, when you're 14, 15 and you've only texted with your phone and suddenly you have to leave a voicemail, it can be pretty daunting. So what we do as one example is we have a sample voicemail to listen to. We have a high school student showing the same skills. We show a model for the voicemail, like you say your name, you say why you're calling, and then you leave your phone number 2 times. Because nothing's more annoying than someone saying it fast and you got to replay the voicemail 3 times to catch their number. So we teach them through guided instruction how to leave a voicemail, and then they come down to the bottom and I'm on the teacher side, but they submit their voicemail by recording their own voice. And the teacher has a rubric, a scoring grid, and they can score it and save the grade in the teacher's own grade book. So this is a comprehensive soup to nuts curriculum platform teaching students how to do a lot of practical life skills that we just assume, oh, you'll figure it out one day. Well, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but the sooner they learn it, the faster they're going to move in the hiring process and in the work world. So one example of over 100 of these activities that really drill down on what students need to know to be successful in the world, even while they're in school. Now, the last thing I'll share is our newest tool, which we're excited about and starting to pilot and sell this to school divisions for next year. It's called Propel. And Michael, when I play a video, is there sound? I don't know if
that's a good question. I
do you hear it?
believe if you're using Chrome, you can share. It'll share from your browser. Yes.
Okay, so if I hit play, you can hear this. Can you hear me talking there? If
No.
not, I'll just talk over it. You know
No,
what?
no.
All right, I'm just going to talk over it and give you the play-by-play. So watch this. This is a tool for Gmail and Outlook. It's an extension. Follow along. So I'm talking over the video, and when the student hits compose, it brings up a form, and it guides a student to write in all the sections of the email. Subject line, addressing the person, a greeting, all the parts you need. It's also an Outlook. So when we have students fill in an email, let's say they do it sort of kind of good. They write question with a lowercase q. They say hi teacher. They write good morning, but there's the G on good is not capitalized and there's no period at the end. They use 3 question marks like they're freaking out. That's not appropriate. They say THX instead of thanks. That's shorthand. So they fill in as best they can. It puts it in the email. And then on the right side, they are given additional guidance on how to tighten it up. It says like your subject line, that's too short. 1 word's not enough. Retype it, fix it. Hi teacher, that's not appropriate. Write out hi Miss Smith. The good needs a capital G. The geometry needs a period. Those 3 question marks, unprofessional. Take away 2 of those question marks. And the THX, that's shorthand. We flag a lot of slang terms. Write out thanks. So what I want you to observe here is that the student did all the writing, all the thinking, all the doing. This is not an AI tool. It's not ChatGPT. This is teaching students how to write to adults and include all the necessary parts. So we're putting all the work on them and we're guiding them along. And that is, and I'll back up here to the group again, that is what teachers like about this tool the most. They say it right away, is that it does not do the work for the students. They don't want to bring in ChatGPT, GPT-4, GPT-5 eventually, and say, oh yeah, just give it 2 words like my homework and it writes a whole email. They don't want that. They need students to know what they're even doing. It's like you can't get keys to a Porsche until you learn how to drive a car, like a less expensive car. You got to know how to write to people, how to talk to people, how to show respect, how to write a teacher or an employer with a formal title before you can start playing around with tools that write everything for you. Because it's very evident when someone uses AI right now, especially students, it's not their voice. It's a lot of language that they would not have written themselves, and you can tell right away. And maybe Jen can see that with like job applications when it's like a cover letter through ChatGPT, and it's like, this is not you. And so we're helping students stay in their own voice, be authentic, but learn how to show respect. And so the early returns on this tool have been incredible, transformative. Students who would write text messagey looking stuff, 5 minutes later, they're writing with proper structure because they don't want to look foolish. They don't want to fall on their face. They just don't know. And so we're giving them a tool to learn through repetition. And I think it has real staying power and stickiness within school divisions. We're just a few months in with this product, but the need is there. It's a generational problem. It's a societal problem. And Jen can speak to this. So I'll keep setting her up for her portion. But I don't think we're at a point in the workplace where it's okay to talk to a customer with slang. You know, you need to have a level of professionalism when it's real business and real dollars. Also, emails are statements of record. They could be used in court. This is real world stuff. So how you write emails has significant weight for the rest of your life. And so if we can start teaching students, in fact, one school system in North Carolina we're going to work with next year, we'll use this tool for all 6th through 12th grade. Like they're very serious. We hope they're not the first or not the last, I mean. And so they're going to start training students as soon as and one more point, and then I'll throw it to the group. This is what's going on in America and why we see what we see in a lot of resumes today. Okay. When students are given, when students enter 6th grade in many school systems in the country, especially if they're a Google school, they are given Chromebooks right away. 5th grade, 6th grade, they're 11, 12 years old. And to use a Chromebook, you need an email address. So they are being given email addresses at 11, 12 years old. And everyone's trying their best sort of haphazardly to help them use email, but there's no formal system. And so you have students writing to adults at early ages, a bunch of scattered text messagey slang. And so the sooner we can get in there and teach at an early age, they will then leave high school, leave college, knowing how to communicate on a level that's worth hiring them for. They'll be much more valuable in the workplace if they can put sentences together with periods, because students don't use periods. And so we're trying to create the future workforce, make them work ready with soft skills, but training them through very practical tools. So that is who we are. And then, Michael, if you want to share the call to action, the link that he can share in the chat is to trial at no cost the rest of this academic year any of our resources that I showed you. All 3 of those tools, we want schools to try them right now. We're at the end of the school year. Try them, and let's have a conversation about next fall.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate that well thought out presentation. And to be honest, I have 2 teenage daughters, so I absolutely know where you're coming from. And it's something that needs to be presented and taught in every school system throughout the country. And it's so important.
The hope and the dream.
Yeah, and I can tell you, even seeing the the soft skills of or just the understanding of career paths and opportunities is just so important. Every week I hear a different idea from my older daughter as to what she wants to do when she grows up, and I think having resources like this to help them explore and understand is so important.
And one point on that, we talk in these exploration videos, we talk with a lot of young professionals in different fields. In fact, just yesterday, I interviewed an esthetician, like a skincare specialist. She's 22 years old, runs her own business. She's 22, okay, so she's in that culture, and she was locked up during COVID, and communication skill, everything suffered, right? She runs her own business, and she says she is so careful with how she writes to her clients. Everything has to be exactly clear and correct, or she would give out false information about what she offers or about her discounts. So on the other side, as soon as you're in business, I don't care how old you are, these old school skills suddenly matter a great deal. And so when a 22-year-old says that, it's not just your parents saying it. This is just the language of business. It's a language of making money. And so every time we talk to somebody, we hear this across any industry, we hear the exact same thing. You have to be able to write. You have to be able to speak. You have to know how to treat customers correctly. It doesn't matter what the job is. And I think that's encouraging that students keep hearing that, so they know that they need to focus on it when it's their turn to be in charge too.
Makes sense, and comes full circle. So
yeah, it does.
Talk about coming full circle. Jen, at the other end of the spectrum, I wanted to pass the mic over to you to present to us on the hiring end of things for companies.
Sure, yes. And thank you, Danny, for all the call outs. But you're absolutely right. Like communication and soft skills, I read an article, that's the new hot thing. Like everything else we can learn on Google, but the soft skill of being able to communicate and being professional is absolutely going to be the differentiator going forward. So that's fabulous. I love the idea. I love your tools. So we'll talk after this.
Absolutely.
So on to Higher Logic. So Higher Logic was born out of an executive search firm, and we saw the problems that recruiters have and any interviewer has, which is really trying to do multiple things at once and at a very quick pace. So Higher Logic listens to your interview and takes an amazing set of notes for you. It's a conversational AI. And what it does is unburdens the recruiter, unburdens the interviewer, and it also kind of levels the playing field for brand new recruiters, people who are just stepping into a role, or if someone's interviewing a role that they've never even, if it's a super technical role, they don't really know what the conversation is like, but Higher Logic does. So it's like an amazing safety net for any interview conversation you have, whether you're brand new at recruiting and interviewing, or you're very seasoned, whether you know the job description very well, or if you just got it handed to you and you're just going to ask a list of questions. Our clients are really happy with it because it's allowing them to connect with the candidate and pay attention to them and freeing up their brain from having to verbatim type every single thing that they're saying sometimes very quickly. So I don't know if you've been in interviews where you're like, oh, hold on one second, I'm taking that note. The person still keeps talking, and then you say, oh, can you repeat that? Well, maybe they've had a moment of brilliance and they have to now go back and try to recreate that and share their experience or their learning. And it kind of can make an interview choppy and maybe less of a great experience for the candidate. So with Higher Logic, you can just relax and focus on asking the right questions and really freeing up your part of your brain that's busy doing that administrative task. So it's really great for all levels of learners. And there's actually another application you can use it for, which is preparing for interviews. So we have a way you can generate a list of questions based on a job title. And then you can just do a mock interview with yourself and record it. So Higher Logic can join a phone call, like a 3-way call. It can join a video, Zoom, Teams, or Google Meet. It'll just join like another person. Or you can just use your laptop or your phone and let that microphone listen. It's a transcription tool. It's not audio or video recording. So it's not something you can watch again, or it's not something you can listen to again. But if you do mock interviews with yourself before you go to the real interview, you can see how you're portraying yourself to potential hires. So it can be a really good practice tool as well. Let me go ahead and just share the product, and then we can walk through choose what to share. Okay, yep. Whole screen, entire screen, okay. Okay, so let's see. Here's Higher Logic. Can you see Higher Logic now?
We can, yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So the idea, as far as like logistically how to join, is it can do a 3-way call with the, I have to add a phone number. You can do a 3-way call with the candidate. So you'll call Higher Logic, dial the candidate, merge the calls, and it'll give you an amazing set of notes. People love this because what if they're on the go? What if they are not in front of their computer and a candidate calls them back and they're at their kid's soccer game? They can go ahead and say, hold on one second, let me add my smart note taker, dial in Higher Logic, merge the call, and they're going to get an amazing set of notes while they're on the go. And it also will join an email or a video invite. So you'll get a company specific Higher Logic email that you just add to your invite that you're sending the candidate. So it works with Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, and basically you just invite it. And by virtue of adding this email address, it will know to join at that specific date and time. And the whole point of it is efficiency, right? So it's not making decisions for you. It's really just making sure we capture all of the factual conversation that happened in an interview. We've trained it on hundreds of thousands of data points, and it's very smart at extracting what's relevant inside of an interview conversation. So just by having Higher Logic listen, you're going to get 3 tabs of notes. It'll be sent straight to your email inbox, and you can also come see it here. We also connect to applicant tracking systems, which makes it super seamless. Then you don't even have to come to Higher Logic. You do your 3-way call, you do your Zoom, and it just shows up under the candidate record in your applicant tracking system. But basically, we're trying to capture and summarize so that you have the important parts of the conversation at your fingertips. So we have a candidate synopsis, purely based on what was verbally said by the candidate during the interview. We pull out potential strengths and check potential concerns. We named it this because it's never going to be 100%, and it's always going to need your discerning eye to make sure these are truly cons. You know the client or the hiring manager, you know that the candidate, you were there, so you can adjust these if they're not absolutely relevant to your scenario. So it's really just a very strong first draft. And these are all editable by you, the recruiter or interviewer. It's also listing out any candidate attributes. So anything the candidate mentioned about experiences, this is all generated by the AI purely from listening to the conversation. Anything they mentioned about leadership and teamwork, any interests and expectations that they shared with you, and then locations or geographies, and anything they shared about compensation. So a very thorough, easy to navigate summary of that whole entire conversation. And it works for super short conversations as well as long and detailed ones. It's less about the duration and more about the quality and the content of that conversation. We have clients doing 2 and 3 minute interviews and getting lots of good data that they didn't have to lift a finger to generate. So it can be very powerful. It's also going to list out a Q&A summary. So this is the meat of the conversation, the questions that the recruiter or the interviewer asked in an AI generated format. So it's not verbatim, it's kind of cleaned up and summarized. And then the summary answer that the candidate gave. Both of these tabs are sent to you in an email within minutes after every interview. And these are typically the items that are pushed into an applicant tracking system. So it reduces so much administrative time. We have clients saying that it's reducing the time that they spend submitting candidates and tackling all of the administrative stuff by 75%. So if you don't have to take notes, then redo your notes and put them in the applicant tracking system, and then perhaps do a write-up to submit a candidate to a client, you're saving a ton of time. And what you can do then is interview more candidates and get to the right person faster. So it's really an efficiency tool all across the board. It also is going to compare the conversation to a job description. So if you upload a job description, it'll tell you how thoroughly this was covered. So this is another training or mentoring opportunity where you can see, did your recruiter actually discuss the job description? Or were they talking about, non-relevant topics? So it'll tell you what you covered and what you didn't. A great visibility, transparency tool. We also generate these word clouds on skills, industries, functions, and titles. So I'm going to click candidate only. And if you have an interest in one of these items, or if you need to refresh your memory, you can just click on it and it'll take you to the raw transcript where it was mentioned. So marketing was mentioned 6 times, and you can just scroll through and see when it was mentioned, and everything's timestamped. So you know who said what, when. We have the raw transcript here for you to lean on and reference, but we really hope that you get most of your insights without having to go there, right? Because raw transcripts are hard to read. There's a lot of uhs and ums, and it's just not very graceful. So we're trying to just pull out all of the necessary items so you don't have to have that pain. We also listen for compliance risks. We're one of, I think, the only tool that's listening for those EEOC type things like age, race, ethnicity, religion, gender, and just letting you know it happened. So once again, transparency for coaching, mentoring, training, and nothing punitive. It's just giving you insights as to what was said. And it can be said by the candidate or the recruiter, either or. So then you can also click on these and see the paragraph it was said, so you can see context and understand if it was benign or if it's something that may require a little intervention. It's also listening for and pulling out metrics and KPIs, which I think is really cool because sometimes you just want those kind of quick, meaty bullets about the things that this candidate was able to drive. So, I led a team of 10 at this organization, or I grew revenues 20% with this special project. All of that will be listed here. And once again, you can click it and go to the paragraph so you can see the context it was said in the conversation. And then, of course, follow-ups like send me your updated resume, or I'll send you the benefits package. Those are all there too, just by virtue of listening to the conversation. We have that there as well. So in a nutshell, that's Higher Logic. There's more, but as far as like the basics, we're just offering this as a free trial. We just have people sign up and I can get you logged on, get you onboarded, and then You just do as many interviews as you can. And this is like the baseline. This is just out of the box. This is what you get. But we can work with each client to tailor the output to what works best for their needs. So some client submissions might be very different from the others. We can work together to come up with a template. If you don't like synopsis, strengths, and concerns, we can adjust that and come up with a custom template for you as well. This is the first conversation that we've put our analytics and machine learning model on top of. The next conversation will be the intake call itself. So when the recruiters are talking with the hiring manager and they're telling them, this is what I want you to go find in a candidate. Or if you're in staffing or recruiting, you're talking with the client and they're telling you all of this good criteria. If you have HireLogic join that call as well, it'll auto-generate a job description. It'll auto-generate a day in the life of this type of person and questions that you may want to ask when you're interviewing them. So we've started with the interview conversation, but we're going to now expand to other types of HR conversations where AI and machine learning can just be such a huge efficiency and thoroughness tool without being a decision maker, because the human is always going to be involved. The human is always the ultimate decision maker. It's just, how do we add some efficiencies into the recruiting processes? And I will stop
Really cool.
with that.
Okay, great. No, I think
Awesome.
that was really helpful. And I'm sure there are a lot of hiring managers and recruiters and people listening to this presentation saying, where was this when I needed it before? So I think, it's a really exciting solution. And I think, coming full circle, it shows us, in terms of preparing students for the types of situations and the types of, hiring tools that are being used. It just shows that the need for all of these soft skills to be able to understand how to navigate the hiring environment that they're entering.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it dovetails really nicely with Danny's tool because a student can look up different jobs that they're interested in. Then they could go into HireLogic and generate questions that a prospective employer might ask them. And they could practice, do some mock interviews, and then see, these are the notes that I generated with my responses. Is that good enough? Do I feel confident? Do I feel like I represented myself well? Or should I keep practicing? So I think there's tons of application for young people as well. Like my son's 16, he wants to go get a job at Chicken and Pickle. And he's like, I have to practice my interviewing skills. I'm like, yes, you do. So we need some help from you, Danny, and some HireLogic, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I see that
And
for sure.
and tying the whole thing together, talking about the different types of careers and the different types of opportunities. That's where this next presentation comes in. This opportunity is from Marketer Hire, and they have a solution specifically for individuals in the marketing area. So I wanted to put up a.
Hey, Michael, before you do that, just for Jen's benefit, there's a couple of questions in the chat, Jen, for you.
Okay, sure. Let me pull that up. We average 12 to 20 employees year round. Does HireLogic make sense for our size company? Yeah, it works for any size of company. We scale up and down. So for small, medium, and enterprise, we have solutions for all. So yes, that would be a fabulous fit. And then does HireLogic comply with GDPR standards? We do. We actually have clients in Europe, and we have a GDPR data processing agreement. So yes, absolutely.
Great.
Thanks,
No,
Danny.
I think that's helpful. And absolutely, when you're looking at hiring on a global basis, a lot of different compliance and regulatory details are important. So, obviously this is good to hear. So anyways, this next presentation is from Marketer Hire, and this is specific to the marketing area. So I'm going to play this for everyone. one of the most important things that any company can do is to communicate their marketing message, on point, and in a way that conveys the as Dean mentioned earlier, the vision and values of their organization in line with with the way they want to come off to the world. And over the last 20 plus years, I've led several sales and marketing organizations, and to be honest, most of the talent was in-house. And it was not until my last company that I began outsourcing some of the components of marketing and the like. And when I was approached by this company, Marketer Hire, I was quite honestly a bit skeptical of the idea of outsourcing. And as you can imagine, from where I sit, I see many different solutions, and obviously everyone is familiar with, as Sean mentioned, different market spaces like Fiverr and Upwork and the like, and a lot of those marketplaces are fantastic for one-off hires. But I think in the market there's a deeper need for talent that is at a level, a really vetted level of talent, senior talent, that can handle, marketing and different projects at a different level that are, near and dear to the heart of your organization, and really, convey the messaging in a unified way. So, this is actually one of the few times I've presented a specific solution on this idea, and I think that's the reason for it. I was so impressed with this solution. So, in this presentation, I'm going to speak about Marketer Hire and their solution for outsourcing some of these critical roles, and how their solution is used by some leading brands, a bit about their vetting process, and the whole aspect of how their solution is both flexible, scalable, the types of roles that Marketer Hire fits into, and the types of results that major clients are seeing on the platform. So, first off, I just wanted to start out by talking about the challenge, and this is something so many of us have seen, in the marketing space. Sure, there are plenty of options, but finding the right option is key. And at a high level, there's a shortage of talent. There are huge skill gaps in a lot of the talent that's out there, and it's a very competitive market for top talent. Most of the top marketing talent is just like Sean mentioned, with the talent that he's seeing already occupied and already on projects. So some of the areas where there's the biggest need for highly vetted marketing talent would be content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing, search engine optimization, and search engine marketing, and paid marketing, paid advertising. Whether you're advertising through Facebook, Google, Meta, any of the different platforms online. A paid advertising campaign, when done well, can yield incredible results. And if a campaign turns upside down, it can also yield some very disastrous results as well. So having the right people in place to run that type of campaign, really is super important. So first, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the challenge, by the numbers. As you can see here, a majority of businesses, probably just like yours and mine, struggle to hire talent in-house to address the marketing needs that they have, especially organizations that might be either bootstrapped startups or venture capital backed companies growing at a quick clip. Bringing aboard the right talent at the right time, as an organization scales, is so important. Now, many leaders, really believe, for good reason, that hiring talent, is not only difficult now, but continuing to get harder and harder. You can see that recent survey by Recruit CRM, 67% of the marketing, of the leaders in different organizations, felt that was the case. And a majority, 92% of companies are, providing the feedback that the talent that is out there, at a very high level, may be perfect for some things, but there are huge gaps in the knowledge and capabilities of a lot of the marketers that are available through many of the platforms. So it just shows, the need for different vetted options for finding the right talent at the right time for your organization. And from where I sit, a lot of the different individuals I've worked with over the years, both internally and as I have outsourced more and more over the years, I've found one thing stands true. Bringing aboard outsourced talent through vetted options like Marketer Hire gives you the opportunity to really search the world for the best possible talent, no matter where they may be. And being able to find the right talent for, maybe a very specific project, may require looking, beyond just your, your internal talent pool or a local or regional talent pool, but really searching the world over to find the exact right perfect fit for a solution or for a specific opportunity or position that you have or may have coming up on your marketing calendar. So now I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of the things that impressed me the most about Marketer Hire and the solution that they're offering. Only the top 5% of the individuals that apply to be on the Marketer Hire within their ecosystem are actually accepted into their network. So, the majority, well into the high 90% range of those who apply to be accepted within the Marketer Hire ecosystem are rejected. And they have a very strenuous vetting process. And I think, at a high level, it's not only good for the organizations that do participate in the Marketer Hire network, but a lot of the the talent that does rise to the top and is part of the Marketer Hire system is fully employed and fully engaged, in working on different projects within the network. So if you are looking for a position within the network and you are accepted, it speaks volumes to the quality of work and the relationships that you've established. So one of the things that they do is they have a comprehensive vetting process. So they look at the individual skills, their experience, their past performance working within the Marketer Hire ecosystem to really help potential employers understand the types of experiences that others have had working with that specific individual in terms of their background, their experience, their success completing projects. It's a very transparent process and a very transparent market space where, top talent rises to the top and, is available to, top tier marketers who are looking to communicate their messaging and their branding in a very specific way that represents their organization and the way they'd like to be represented. And one of the things that I was very impressed in having the opportunity to work with the marketer hire system in my past organization and here at Software Oasis was the ability for clients to review marketers' profiles, ratings, and areas of specialty or expertise within the system to be able to make informed decisions as you go through the process to, narrow down your options and very quickly get to the point that you're bringing aboard the best talent and quickly. And one of the most important things, I think we've all had experiences where maybe our organization is growing quicker than we expected, and the need for talent may not have been anticipated way ahead of time. So by having the marketer hire system in your toolbox, they have a very easy and quick sign-up process for companies that are looking to get aboard. It may not be something that you're using today or tomorrow, but unexpectedly, you have a project that needs to get done. And if you have the marketer hire solution in your toolbox, you can very quickly hire up for positions and find top talent, not just any talent, but top talent. So I think that's a really exciting thing about their solution. Now, another area that is so important is knowing that you're in good company. Marketer Hire's mission is to connect expert marketers with businesses quickly and seamlessly. And as you can see, some of the world's top brands, from Netflix to Lyft to Forbes, are all working, on the back end with marketer hire vetted talent. And, I think this does speak volumes to the quality and level of expertise within their network. It's not just a group of freelancers that have not been vetted and put through the rigors of the marketer hire system and process. So they've actually taken and done a lot of the heavy lifting and the hard work of finding and getting the right talent aboard on the marketer hire system so that you can quickly scale up and be successful out of the box with your hires very quickly versus having to. We've all been there and made the wrong hire and had that challenging time where you had to make a transition quickly, and anything that you do quickly may not be putting your best foot forward. So their solution gives you that flexible and scalable way of bringing aboard talent, whether it's a one-off project or many of the individuals that you might hire through the marketer hire solution can fill longer term roles or needs, but the solution can easily scale up or down headcount without any hassle. It's really the type of thing there's not any heavy long-term commitment to the solution. It's something that you can put into place today and very quickly be up and running, so that anytime that you do need to bring additional team members aboard, you can do that and feel confident that they're going to fit with the vision and values of your organization. And some of the different roles and specialties, and I think this kind of points to what Sean was saying earlier in the webinar, that let's face it, if you talk to an executive from a company, they're going to tell you that they can do everything and anything. And one of the things that's so unique and so different about my experience with Marketer Hire, and I think you'll have the same type of experiences, they really focus on these 8 areas. This is exactly what their organization is all about and what the individuals within the Marketer Hire team do. They're specifically focused on content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing, search engine optimization, paid advertising, influencer marketing. These are individuals that understand the nuances of analytics and reporting. It's not just reading a report or looking at metrics or insights. It's really understanding what the data means. And that is the type of individual that you'll be able to bring aboard through Marketer Hire. And let's face it, branding and creative, you need to have someone on your team that can get your branding, voice, design, assets on point and produce quickly and on message and on point. So that's the type of individual that you're going to find at Marketer Hire. I'm just going to leave you with this. You can literally just go to softwareoasis.com/Marketer Hire, or click on the link at the top of this video to book a free consultation, compliments of Software Oasis, with a Marketer Hire team member to really understand exactly how the solution works. There's no obligation. It's a free consultation, and something I think you'll appreciate for many years to come. I can speak confidently, letting you know that the solution really is on point and is focused on vetting and bringing to light the top marketing talent. So thank you, and I appreciate everyone joining us on the webinar today. I think we had a great lineup and really some very interesting presentations. And okay, well, I'm actually going to leave on the chat here for everyone a recap of all of the different options and offers that were made on the webinar here today for anyone that wants to take advantage. And Jen and Danny, I really appreciate your joining us on the webinar.
Yeah, and Michael, do you mind sharing? You can do it offline. Jen's email with me. I'd like to chat afterwards and
Sure.
what
Be
they've got
happy
going
to.
on. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Michael.